Hello and welcome to Soul Searchers of Spring Hill. I'm Ricky and this is...
I'm Brian Garza.
And over here next to me we have Mr. Ron Shuff from Franklin, Tennessee. We're here at Ron Shuff Music. So we are going to start to tell you about the history of this building and maybe even a few more ghost stories too. So come on and take a listen. Okay, so here we are at Shuff Music, and these lovely ladies decided to join us this evening. We have Margaret and Mia. Margaret is from Brentwood and Mia is from Nashville, and they both have had a good deal of paranormal experiences in the past, as well as being paranormal sensitive. And so they're going to join us today to hear all the history that's been taking place here in Shuff Music in Franklin, Tennessee, and also come along with us on our ghost investigation. Okay, so Ron, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how long you've been here in Franklin, Tennessee?
Okay, I've been here since 1978 in business. I actually came to Nashville in late '76. My goal was to work in the music industry, but I was also writing a dissertation on commercial music from the University of Southern Mississippi for a PhD. That led me to Nashville, and we just loved Nashville. Felt like, well, I might as well be here to write it as being in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Plus, I've always been a working musician, so that I thought there'd be a lot of jobs here. But,
it was already known as Music City by then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And when you first came here, did you come right here to Franklin?
No, I was in the western Nashville, over near the Temple Hills area. Okay. But the property line just landed right inside of Williamson County. So we had babies, and so they had to come to the health department in Franklin. So we got to know we're coming to Franklin almost every week for something. And so that led us to Franklin. We loved the charm of the town. At the time, this street, which is 3rd Avenue North, the three houses, which this house is in the center, was in an estate, and it was in a trust held by the Williamson County Bank. And these all buildings were empty. But to cut to the story about the store, I had invested, my brother was a band director in Georgia, and he ran across a little store called Norcross Music that was going out of business, and he said, we just don't buy this store. Well, it was really cheap, and they were willing to finance just about the whole thing. So I said, well, I'll invest with you, you know. And so, and I had come from Atlanta previously, so had a lot of contacts there. Bottom line is that we opened this little store, and I'd go back to Atlanta on the weekends and play gigs, and we figured how we were going to do the store. Well, we did that for about a year, and the driving back and forth wasn't that cool. And so Molly said, well, why don't we just open a store in Franklin? They don't have anything in Franklin, music stores and stuff. And there wasn't anything in Williamson County, period, at that time. And the premise of the music store was basically that we would have a kind of school of music. We'd hire private teachers to come in and teach, and they would sell high-quality instruments.
So you said there wasn't anything in Williamson County, like there wasn't anything?
There's no music store.
Or there was no music store? Okay, and what year are we talking about?
1978.
Oh, okay.
And so we liked downtown Franklin. I was coming down here every Sunday for church and to direct the choir. So we wanted there was a lot of empty buildings on Main Street. It was more empty than Columbia. And so, you know what I'm talking
That's really
about.
grown, huh? Now.
So, yeah, so we were one of the first ones. So, but it was, but the building on Main Street that I started working on had been a McClure's. And it had been empty for a couple of years. It was really dirty. It was in bad repair. So we started working on it, and we had negotiated with the owner on a lease. However, she had to go to Europe to do a buying thing, and she says, and I'd already been to the NEM show and picked out my instruments and had it on the way. So we're getting ready to open.
To come here?
Yeah,
to open the
up
show.
on Main Street. Bottom line is that she said, oh, I'm going to be gone for 30 days, and we'll look at it when I get back. Well, I'm not the brightest businessman in the world, but I knew I wasn't going to put, you know, several $1,000s worth of musical instruments into a building that had water problems and
Right.
structural problems that without a lease.
But now, you're saying that this was a building on Main Street, not this building?
Not this building. So, anyway, that was, we'd worked in there for 2 weeks, just hard labor, trying to get it ready. But anyway, we had to make a decision. But, so one Saturday we'd been working in there, and I saw this lady who's in my choir. I said, Margaret, what do we do? And she's a 5th or 6th generation original Franklinite. And she said, you know, the bank has these houses on 3rd Avenue that they really want to get rid of. And they would like for them to maybe go commercial. Well, these houses were owned by a lady called Miss Agnes Bennett, who was, at the time of her death, she was the largest landowner in Williamson County. So she was pretty wealthy.
Wow.
And she was a distant relative of Mrs. Galt, who lived here during the Civil War. We'll be talking about her a lot tonight. So at any rate, I called the president of the bank. I was really, how can I say, very confident, aggressive, and stupid. One of the two when I was much younger. So I called him. I said, "Can you meet me?" Well, and Margaret knew him too. So she's an original Franklin person. So so he was delighted to meet with me on Sunday after church. So we came by here and walked through the building, tied some numbers and stuff around. He says, we really want to sell it. We don't want to lease it because we want to park behind the building for our employees. So at the end of the day, I wrote down some stuff. He took some notes. And Sunday night, I sat down and hand wrote a contract. And, you know, these are things he's going to do. These are things I'm going to do. We had a prize. And I thought I had negotiated a pretty good deal. And it was really. But I had to leave Sunday night after that to go do a music clinic in North Carolina. And so the board of directors of the bank met on that Monday afternoon. Bottom line is, my wife calls me from Monday night and says, "Guess what? We own a building." So therefore, here we are at this building. So
that was when you first, that's how you got here.
That's when we ended up at the building here instead of in a commercial building on Main Street.
On Main Street. Okay, so Ron, you were about to tell us a little bit about this lady that you have pictured on the wall.
Yes, she's the one that most of the stories are about here in the house. She was a very free-spirited lady, according to a lot of stories. You have to remember the time that she was occupying this house, so were the federal soldiers were occupying Franklin. And she was kind of a spy for General Hood. She became a friend of General Hood, who is actually visited her here. But she would wine and dine the soldiers and get things from them. And if we can see in the attic, we'll go up in the attic, she had a hole in the roof where she signaled troops from, and you can still see in the old part of the house where she cut that hole in the roof. But she was very much involved in helping finance the Southern cause as well.
Also, she was playing both sides, kind of getting information for the Confederates.
Okay, so I was kind of lost on what you meant by signal. Like, what exactly do you mean by that?
I don't know exactly.
So tell them it was a safe place, or?
I don't know if it's actually during the battle, and she was saying, you know, where troops were, but are it safe to come in now and we can meet with the general, or?
And that's a pretty brave thing that she did, because, you know, if I'm sure the Union Union soldiers found that out, they would probably have killed her.
Right. Yeah. There was.
So she took a real chance.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the ladies in Franklin were pretty aggressive in the Southern's cause.
Wow.
Okay, so Ron, I wanted to ask you that obviously this building has a great deal of history, but there's a lot of historic buildings, especially right here in downtown Franklin. And so where are we located, and what's some of the historic background of the other buildings that are right here?
Okay, we're right off the square on 3rd Avenue North. All right, and the house across the street, we call it the Mosley House because when I moved here, Mrs. Mosley owned it, and she was an interesting lady, and she and her sister, both of them widows, lived in one lived on one side and one lived on the other side, and they rented out a couple of rooms upstairs.
Oh.
But that house, this year, it's its 200th anniversary.
Wow.
And it's, they added on to it to make it for they're pretty nice as apartments.
So that one was built before this
Yes, it was.
building was built. What year was this building built?
This is 1828.
Okay.
That was 1815. And I think the oldest house on the block is the Aiken House, which is the federal house 2 doors down.
And down this way, right?
Across the street.
Across the street. Okay.
And it's 1809. So that's the oldest house on this block.
Wow.
So
But that's a lot of history just right here on this one street.
I know. Yeah, there are a lot of stories and things, but I think there's a lot of good. I think there's a lot of good that's happened
Right.
on this block. I tell you a ghost story if you want to. Not as a ghost story, but about something that happened to me, talking about good. I was in the back room on the left side of it one day. And again, Franklin, it's not like it was now where there's a lot of traffic and things.
Right.
But I was helping a kid with their horn or instrument or something. And this lady just stops her car right in the middle of the street and comes running in the store. And she says, "Where's the owner? I've got to find the owner." And so the guy that was having me up front, he says, "He's back in the back of the student right now." And she says, "Well, I've got to see him. I got to see him." And she seemed very upset, and so he took her and brought her back to the city, wanted to meet the owner. And she says, "I'm so clever, I'm very clairvoyant, and I was just driving by this building, and I don't even live here. I'm visiting some friends in Nashville, and I came in, I drove by, the spirit was coming out of this building so strong, I had to stop." And she came in and she said, "I just got to tell you that." And he said, and I probably turned white, but because she was just almost hysterical. And he said, "Oh, honey, don't worry about it. It's good. It's all going to be good. These are good vibes."
Well, that's good. When was that?
Did
things start to get better then, financially and everything?
It was a long time before it got better.
It took a while.
It took a while. That was probably early 80s.
Oh, okay.
No, but
Wow.
that was, I've never seen anybody so hysterical or so just caught up in the whole thing.
Right. Wow. Well, speaking of ghost stories, why don't we go to some of the other rooms and you can share any experiences that you've had with us.
All right, I'm with Katie, and Katie has a story that she experienced here in the house. So can you tell us about that?
Yes, I'm a teacher and I work upstairs pretty late at night. And I was here about 8 o'clock one evening. It was in the fall and nobody else was in the store. And I've always been fascinated by the ghosts but never had any type of experience. And my door is a door, it's not like, because it's an older home, the doors don't always open like all the way, it kind of hits the floor.
They're old
yeah.
and they're really creaky. Okay.
And so my door especially, it's not one that just opens easily. And I was teaching and my student actually was like, "What was that?" And it was like somebody was walking in the room. We heard footsteps.
You could hear footsteps. Wow.
And because the floor pops, and so we stopped and we opened the door, and I kind of looked out and I was like, I don't see anything. And so I was like, well, let's keep going. And so we kept playing, and I said jokingly to him, I said, "Oh, it's probably just the ghost. They're not gonna hurt you. It's fine, whatever. They live here." And about that time, my door behind us, while we're playing, it goes, and it opened up maybe like, I don't know, 6-8 inches.
Wow.
And I jokingly, I said, well, come on in. And my door goes, like
Wow.
that. And it pushed it open probably a good 2 feet.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm done. We're wrapping.
I don't blame
My
you.
student was terrified, and I was just like, okay, like you stay here, I'm going home. So, it's never, I mean, I've never had any other encounters,
Wow.
you know, since then, so.
Well, thank you for
it's
sharing
nice.
that with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, we're on the second story of this beautiful home, and you're going to tell us some stories. Is it particularly about this room right here, or in general the home?
Well, it seemed like that, yeah, this room, because we spent a lot of time in it.
Okay.
Originally, I rented this room to a fairly famous local artist. Her name is Shelley Snow. She's watercolors, and she would stay here sometimes all night long. She'd just paint at night because it's quiet. And she knew the stories, and she grew up in Franklin, so she knew that. And she's painted like the rotunda at the Capitol in Nashville,
Wow.
so she's quite renowned. But she told me that she had an experience. You know, she told me that was one night she was painting late, and she'd gone back to the back to just go to the restroom, and she said, "I saw Mrs. God." I said, "Shelley, you got to be kidding." I said, "You didn't." She said, "Yes, I did." I said, "What was she doing?" She was sitting back there in a rocker and just rocking away. I said, of course, I was really angry at her. Here she is, this great artist. Why didn't you paint her? You know, I wanted to see what she looked like.
Did you believe her right when she told you? Did you
She
believe?
was pretty, yeah.
Pretty believable, huh?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was pretty believable, and she never talked about it, or it wasn't a big deal.
Gotcha.
But there's other things that happened in this room. We talked about it because later on I moved my office up here and had my desk right here. And just about every week after the weekends, I'd come back, and it wasn't this mirror, it was a big heavy mirror, and I had it over the mantel, and it would be crooked. I mean, totally crooked, and everything on the mantel would be messed up and moved around and laying down. It had my kids' picture and stuff like that. And so I'd get it straightened up, and it kind of just got to the point, just irritation more than anything. But
They're playing games with you. a little
yeah. So one morning I came in, and that mirror was smashed on my desk, and just
Wow.
all over the place. I don't know, so it was gone.
Wow.
She just didn't like that mirror.
Apparently not.
Yeah. So it was. That's my story, and I don't,
Any other people that you know of know any stories or have encountered anything maybe here in the house?
There have been employees that have had situations and things happen.
Yeah, we spoke to Katie earlier, and she said one of the doors had opened up, and it sounded like footsteps. Have you ever heard anything like that, or been touched or anything?
No, nothing. It's sometimes when if you're up here late at night, and I may be writing a chart for a show or something like that, and be up here all night and hour pretty close to it, and it's a little eerie, but not in a bad way.
So it's not really like being scared. It's just kind of just different.
It's
Okay.
not scared, and it just seemed there's a good feeling in this building.
That's good.
Literally, we've it's been good for us, and I think it's good that we're in a creative business, not just selling socks or something.
Right. And you've owned this home or this location since 1978, so roughly about 37 years. And have you always had experiences in the home, or did they just start happening later on, or have they just been kind of sporadic?
Sporadic, but they happened early on.
Okay.
Probably more so than later. I don't spend as much time in this building since we moved. We moved our piano show room to 2nd Avenue and moved the studio to 1st Avenue. So I'm not in this building as much, but people like it.
Yeah.
We're in some kids are 3rd generation students here now.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, so it's kind of great.
We're still here at Shuff Music. We're up on the 2nd floor, and we were just in the process of setting up all of our cameras to start our ghost investigation. And we came up here and Brian said that he thought he felt some kind of uneasiness in here. And when I walked in, I immediately felt something brush along the side of my hand over in that hallway. But why don't you show who all's here with us for the ghost investigation, and then Brian, what did you say you felt when you first came in this?
When we
area?
first walked in here, he started telling me about the building, a little bit about the building. As soon as I walked in, I felt like it was leaning, and I asked him, I said, is the floors? He's like, yeah, they're leaning a little bit. I'm like, okay. So I thought maybe that was it at first, and the more I stood here, the more kind of just, not really, but kind of dizzy maybe, but not really, and it was just a different feeling I've never really felt. Just felt really uneasy, and then I asked them if they were feeling anything, and they were.
Down the hallway.
Down the hallway, and in this room right here.
Was it sort of like almost like I don't really want to say lightheaded, but like the equilibrium was a little.
Kind of, yes.
I had a little bit of that downstairs, but I thought it was sinus pressure because this time of year my sinuses get to me and all that right there. But I gotta admit I had a little bit of. It wasn't lightheaded, but it felt like something was a little off on.
Well, and I feel that in this room especially, and when the floors are like that, it can give you that feel, but I
Maybe it was
felt
downstairs,
something a
so.
little bit more than that in here because I came in, even though you had said something to me about asking me if I felt something in here, I wasn't expecting to feel something brush up against my hand like that. And we know that there were students and everything up in here just an hour before we got here, so I doubt it's like a cobweb or anything. And I immediately started getting the goosebumps and cold chills in here, and it's not really.
It's a pretty warm night.
Yeah, it's not really that cold out. So I think what we're gonna do is, why don't we start here? And how we're gonna start this is we're gonna just go ahead and start our investigation, and we'll start in here. We'll start with a few moments of silence and see if we can get anything. If anybody wants to ask any questions to any possible spirits or anything like that, then you can feel free to do so. Obviously, if someone else starts, only one person talk at a time so that we get a good quality recording on the cameras, and then we can move from here to someplace else. And if later on, then we might want to split up into teams.
I'm not having the same feelings I was having earlier anymore.
Me either. I'm not either. It's totally different.
Yep. It's even like it was getting a little cool in here, and it doesn't feel cold anymore here.
It doesn't to me either.
If there's anybody here, this is your opportunity to talk to us. You can use our energy, touch us, anything to let us know that you're here. Can you make a noise or?
What's the lady's name?
Sally?
Ms.
She went by Sally.
Bennett?
Was that her name?
I thought her last name was Galt.
Golf,
Golf.
yes.
Because there's a Galt Center in Pulaski I go to all the time, so that stuck out to me.
Miss Galt, I have to say, based on the stories that I heard, you're my kind of woman. I like ladies that have that much nerve. If you're here, then we would love to know of your presence. Brian, I'm getting cold over here. Especially right on my leg. I wish I had one of those temperature things. Does it feel colder over here again?
Well, right behind you it does.
Yeah. It's cold right here now. If you're here with us,
Oh my God, it's really cold right here.
yeah, it's really cold. I'm getting totally goosebumps. If you're here with us, you can touch me again.
Oh yeah, I just got a breeze. Go past. Did you get that?
I smell something. I mean, we've been up here this whole time and I hadn't smelled perfume or anything, so.
Did you like to wear perfume? What he said?
It
She
was-
had three.
It was a really
Three
sweet, like
husbands?
vanilla smell.
She went through 3 marriages. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Now it's completely gone.
It's starting to warm up a little bit.
It's still kind of cold back here.
Is it?
Yeah. And I was just checking to see if there's any windows.
Andy, make sure
These doors are closed.
you got the camera this way.
It is.
I had a breeze go
Come-
right
come
past.
over
I
here.
felt it on
And I think that's what brought the scent.
Yeah.
Because it's almost, now that it's gone, it's like it's sour with its absence.
I mean, right
Yeah.
here.
If that makes any
Right.
sense, because I'm trying to I mean, it was like one of those room air fresheners, but no one else has noticed it, so it couldn't have been that.
No, it could be because sometimes you might be the only one that smells it.
Yeah.
You know.
I didn't get any feelings downstairs. Like it was mostly as soon as we walked up here. Did you feel anything in the attic or anything? I didn't have any. That's the only area I felt anything.
And I was drawn to that. Even when he was in here
I did
talking,
too.
I kept like looking down there like.
When we
what's
walked
back
around, I
there?
kept looking back like something. I don't know what it was, but
Yeah.
something was in there.
I was definitely drawn to that area. We all were, I guess.
I'm trying to think. You said maybe they like the music, which is what keeps, the souls here. But I'm trying to think of what music would have been.
They teach all
Popular.
kinds of music, so maybe it's not a style, maybe
Oh,
it's the music.
that's true. Maybe it's just the
Oh.
music. Well, I don't have an instrument with me, but I always like the song Summertime. And when it's about to be summertime, so I'll sing just a little bit. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your mammy's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. Then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. Until that morning, there's nothing can harm you. With Mammy and Daddy standing by. Okay, it didn't entice him enough.
And it's probably, just all the stories, it feels like there should be someone else here. I just can't find anything.
No, it definitely feels like
Yeah.
something. But
Because I get the random goosebumps like I'm being watched.
yeah, me too.
Maybe
Okay, let's move on.
Captain
We
America's
are being
watching
watched.
us.
Turn the camera around.
Yeah, that
Watching.
All right, I'm gonna shut this light off, so we're gonna go blind.